it's me again, the City Girl Gardener, and I want to share some of the things that I learn as I go. And one of them is how to preserve herbs so that you can use them season after season after season. Even if they're not in season, I'll show you how to preserve it and you'll still be able to use it during the next season. And I'm in Zone 9 in Texas, and it's hot, very hot, basils everywhere. But now I'm going to harvest some of it so that we can use it throughout the fall and winter season. First of all, I'm going to cut the basil so that I'll have some more to grow before the season's totally gone. I'm going to cut it right below the point where you see the flowering has taken place. I take that out because as it flowers, the taste kind of goes, it's not as good as it is before when you have it. For example, here I've got basil leaves that has not flowered yet. I've got lots of basil that hasn't flowered. This plant will not be here all season, and I am going to preserve it so that when anyone has a recipe that requires basil, including tea and other ways that you use it, or however you choose to use it. The next thing to do is to wash the basil so that you can start the process of preserving it. One thing, I cut one of the pieces of basil off with where the basil is going to flower. I cut it below that point, cut it down here. Now the remaining stem will grow new basil again, but this is not as flavorful as the ones that have not been involved in the flowering process. So I'm going to kind of take that aside. The remaining basil, I kind of rinsed it off when I first brought it in, but now I'm going to go through a little bit more precaution on making sure that everything is taken, all the little pests that we don't see is removed from the basil. And that's, I put just a little bit of white vinegar in here. Then I put my plants in, or at least my cuttings, and then you see ones like this? I don't want to preserve them, so I'll take them off, including that one, and put that aside, and put these in here. And I will give them a little wash. And what will happen is you'll see little droppings that falls to the bottom of the bowl as we go through the process. The next thing I'll do is rinse the vinegar off. You don't want to leave it in there a long time. You just want to give it time for it to get rid of anything that may be on the basil that I didn't see. Then I take a bowl of fresh water and I just pour it over there and let it fill up. Push them down a little bit, but they're gonna freeze anyway, regardless whether they're down in the water or not. Then you take the ice cubes out, just like that. I put them in here, about half of them in here, and I put them in the freezer in the back, and I put the other half in another bag. Make sure I get as much as air out, because I'm gonna also put these in a freezer bag. When it's time and the season's gone and I'm not using it fresh, I will take one of the bags out of the freezer bag and move it to the refrigerator where it's convenient when I'm cooking or I'm preparing something and I need some basil. I take it out, let it sit for a few minutes in one of these bowls, and then I've got basil. And it's not fresh basil, but it has been preserved in the fresh state. And that's how you preserve the basil to be able to use it year-round. Thank you for watching my video. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe.